All-out war declared in Ukraine. 120,000 troops line up on Russia and Belarus's border, headed for Kiev. Today on Mikhail Messenger. Welcome to Mikhail Messenger, End Times News and Bible Prophecy. I'm delighted to be with you. I am Mikhail. And if you haven't already, I just want to encourage you to please become a subscriber on our channel. We're trying to hit 3,000 subscribers, and we have a goal of 100 new subscribers this month. So we hope that you'll become one of them if you haven't subscribed yet. And also, if you can help support our channel, there's lots of ways to do that. You can find that in the description as well as on the screen. You can become a member, which is a great way to get involved with other members outside of this time together. You can also donate to the links in the description, and there's also merchandise and super chats and all that good stuff. Guys, all-out war has been declared in Ukraine. 120,000 troops are lined up on Russia and Belarus's border, headed for Kiev. Now, you may recognize that number 120,000. We were just talking about that, actually, in relation to what's going on in Israel right now. There is a feast happening. It's called the Feast of Tabernacles. And during that time, back in King Solomon's time, he offered 120,000 sheep and goats to be sacrificed. Kind of an interesting parallel there, 120,000 troops going out to willing to sacrifice their own lives on the battlefield. And here we have an interesting parallel happening in Israel at the same time. And Israel is packed out right now with people waiting for that great eighth day that we are looking at as a possibility for the Messiah's return, as the Jews are as well. But as far as Russia and Belarus are concerned, there has been a ban on leaving the country for military personnel. So you're basically trapped being part of this war, whether you like it or not. And the president of Belarus, Lukashenko, announced a while ago that the joint force with Russia will consist of 70,000 Belarusian soldiers. The number's unreal, considering they only have 75,000 in their army to begin with. So that's basically their entire army that they're putting on the field to help Russia. Now, this is very significant because Russia, or Belarus, I should say, is right on the border of Ukraine, and it has a little peninsula there that's really pointed right at Kiev. I mean, they're like within earshot of Kiev right there. If you can see it there, and you see that the red part is the Belarus, and then right underneath there you see Kiev. I mean, boy, it's like they could probably run the marathon over there in a day. You know, it seems so close to where they are. So they're really working together with Russia. Russia's been coming in up to now, in the lower right-hand corner. They've been making their way into the country, and they've snagged a couple of regions there and declared them part of Russia. But boy, to be able to get through Belarus and be right on top of Kiev there, that is like a dream come true for Russia. So they are making their move, and Belarus has joined the Russian fair. I guess it's kind of, you can't beat them, join them for Belarus, so they don't really have much choice. Or Russia just says, well, you can either join us or we'll just take you as well, I suppose. So in any case, they've joined forces with Russia, and now they are just earshot from Kiev there, which is something really amazing. So 70,000 troops from Belarus are joining in the war with Russia. The Western direction has reiterated that NUKE weapons might appear in Poland. And it says that the quote is, the number of people from the Russia side is unknown. I think we don't need to demand 10 to 15,000 from Russia right now. The military defense of Belarus added that the Russian troops that will make up the joint forces will start arriving in Belarus in the coming days. Russian sources say 50 to 80,000 Russian reservists will go to Belarus. So they will conduct combat training activities aimed at increasing the level of duty performance to protect the state of the Union. However, a while ago, Belarusian forces were spotted moving towards the border with Ukraine, specifically in the Pinsk region. I'll just show you a little bit of that video here. As you can see, they are moving in the trucks. It's just kind of interesting that they just go right down the highway, but I guess how else are they going to move them? That's probably the easiest way, is to take it right down the highway there. But there you got some tanks and so forth moving in, and other truck tanks. What do you call these exactly? They kind of remind me of like the big track when I was a kid. You could type in a little code and it would go down. It had like 4 wheels on each side, and it was remote controlled. So kind of interesting. It's like a tank slash truck there. Ban on leaving the country for military personnel. Deliveries of tanks to Russia At the same time, an exit ban was imposed on Belarusian military personnel unless they're going to go to Russia. There's bans and restrictions. Belarusian military exercises were extended while bans and restrictions were introduced to visits in the forest. In addition, Belarus delivered 22 more tanks to Russia. Now, if you remember, we did another recent video where thousands were evacuated, have been evacuated from Ukraine regions in the lower Ukraine. Now, this is in the upper, right above Ukraine, obviously, in Belarus. So very interesting there. Here's another video of them moving more tanks into the region. Those look more like real tanks with the tracks rather than tires on the bottom there. So there you go. They're moving more equipment in. Most likely the equipment was taken from the storage from the 969 tank reserve base. Well, there they are on trains. During the last week, Lukashenko regime handed over at least 67 tanks and 28-year-old trucks to Russia. Previous echelons were sent to the railway stations, Uspenskaya and Milarova, and further to Donbass. So very intriguing, and signal that Mr. Putin, in 2 weeks, the recruitment will be complete. To date, he said 222,000 people out of the projected 300,000 have already been mobilized, and he also called for the quality of mobilization to be improved. Now, if you remember, he had said he was mobilizing, i.e. drafting 300,000 reservists to go and fight in this war, and when he did that, everybody ran for the border because they don't want to fight in this war. So he claims he has 222. Now, that's another interesting number, as we know. 222 is the voice of God, or the trumpet call of God. It's an interesting tie-in there. It's also 2022 is the year that we're in. We've been looking at a lot of 22 connections, so it's interesting the numbers that are coming out here just happen to line up. So Belarusian politician says 120,000 troops to attack Kyiv, and Russia is planning to deploy 120,000 troops on the territory of Belarus in order to attack Ukraine from the north in the spring. And Russian President Vladimir Putin and Belarusian strongman Alexander Lukashenko are planning an invasion of Ukraine from Belarus next spring. According to our sources, the Russians want to deploy 120,000 troops in Belarus by then. The number of Russian soldiers stationed in Belarus is about 5,000, spread across 4 Russian military bases. And here you can see a map of kind of the region that they're moving into. As I pointed out before, as we looked at this other map, see that little red kind of peninsula sticking out there? Well, that is what we see here in this map. That's the area that's right above Kyiv. So it's like a perfect spot. I mean, boy, Russia couldn't ask for a better launching point to attack Kyiv. I mean, they could probably do it in an hour from that location. It's pretty, they could just fly things from that location. They don't even have to cross the border. I mean, at least personnel-wise, they could probably just fly things from that little point at Kyiv, launch missiles kind of similar to what's going on in Israel, being launched from Syria, etc. So here's some activity going on, different military activity. You see the tanks and the trucks moving in. You can kind of see the ones that are Russian have the red, white, and blue flag. And then it looks like the other ones are probably the Belarusian equipment, the ones that are just all in red there. I'm not sure what the Belarusian flag looks like, but they're kind of separating, distinguishing the two. Here's some more activity monitoring in that area. And here's some photos of recruitment, I guess, going on. Not exactly sure it says recruitment in the picture, so let's see what it might say. If it says something under the pictures here. But this maybe is the recruitment center. So that's what's happening, guys. Just wanted to give you that quick report of what's going down. And so be praying for Belarusians, be praying for those in Ukraine, be praying for the Russians, because this is kind of crazy what's happening here. And it's all moving up to the point of no return, so to speak. And it's interesting because we're also looking at that in Israel as this being the last great 8th day that's coming upon us on Monday and Tuesday, going into Wednesday, with the 23rd day, which is when everybody gets sent home, perhaps when the 2 witnesses arrive, if we all get to go home for the Arpazo. So something to be thinking about and praying about. Also, we've got a new T-shirt. If you haven't checked it out, go to our eBay site. It's in the description, and you can get some T-shirts there and help support our channel that way as well. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I love you guys. May the Lord bless you and keep you, and wishing you all the best, all the blessed, and Maranatha.